Except Hepner, don't let him in.
Dashing through the snow.
Oh my God.
No. It's nice and hot out. Leave it like that.
What's going on?
It's too hot today.
What's going on with you, Hepner? You've been in a good mood all week.
I don't know, Bill. I guess I haven't been up to your office.
Actually, that's not true. You've been up to my office more this last week than you have all
I just want to see. I just want to share the love, Bill.
I guess that's what it is. I feel it.
Okay, that's not.
I feel it. Listen, I wasn't complaining. I like to see you in a good mood.
Oh, I go. We can go back to arguing.
No. Well, we can argue. Let's just be in a good mood about it. I love to argue.
All right.
Yeah, he actually offered to give me a pep talk on the golf course.
Hepner did?
Yeah.
Did he?
Kind of like getting a pep talk from Eeyore.
I'm trying to make him a better golfer, but he doesn't listen. So.
Did it help?
No, I let him look at some of his quarters that he gave me last night.
Ow. How many did you get?
No, last night, none, but I had to carry him around the course last night. So we had a match last night.
Did you, who were you playing?
The county legislative chairman.
Oh, yeah. How'd you beat him?
No. The guy played the ground of his life.
Sorry to hear that.
Hi, how are you? This is Felicia.
Hello, Felicia. We can hear you.
Okay, good. I'm going to mute now. Thank
Okay.
So we've got Henderson here, we've got Iris there.
Felicia from the press, Nick Henderson, and did I see Bill Kimball? Are you on? Oh, there I see him. You don't have to talk. You can be muted.
He's in Mike Stanton grieving duty. Okay, 7 o'clock.
Is it 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay. Just hold on one second.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Maria.
Yes, and hi, everybody.
Hey, Laura.
Is that
Yay.
Laura? Okay.
Hi.
Who's
Yep.
Reggie?
I've been here for a minute or two, but anyway.
Okay. Oh, did you hear what we were saying about you?
No.
Okay, good. Okay. I'm sure Reggie will be along in a minute, but it is 7 o'clock. It's 7:01, so I'm going to call to order the Woodstock Town Board business meeting, May 18th. And let's see, just a little note here. I think I forgot to mention this last time, but anyone who would like to speak at public be heard at the end of the meeting, if you enter your name into the chat or let Michelle know. We have 3 spots filled right now. So we have spots for 2 more. If you'd like to speak afterwards, just add your name to the list there. Why don't we jump in and get the resolutions done and out of the way, and then the one topic we have is just an update on Shady Church Road dumping. So go to the resolutions. Be it resolved to accept minutes for meetings held on April 20th, 2021 and May 11th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And as usual, I made notations, so I don't see Jackie on, but anyway, Jackie will probably see them.
Jackie's not on, but Lynn is here in the office with me, so she'll take notes and let Jackie know all about that.
Okay, I think I see Michelle as well.
Be it resolved to accept. Yep, Michelle, you can pass them. Actually, Jackie's going on vacation for a week, so we'll let her go on vacation, and we'll tell her next week when she comes back.
There you go.
Be it resolved to accept the town clerk's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. By any chance, is Reggie in the waiting room, Michelle?
He's having a hard time joining.
Okay.
Oh, tell him to come to my house again.
Be it resolved to authorize payments of audited vouchers in the amount of $362,100.21.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to authorize the supervisor and/or Woodstock Police Chief to sign the Ulster County Urgent Task Force contract. I put both because I'm not sure. One time I know they needed both signatures, but I think they may only need one. So in any event, it covers both of us. We had that. Actually, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. For purpose of discussion, we had the sheriff join us with one of his under deputies last week to discuss this. I did have a lengthy conversation with the chief, and he feels that we should re-up again. We were in urgent a while back, and not even quite sure why we let it lapse, but it is a good program, and it does cost us a little bit of money and manpower, but the chief and the board always felt that we got back good effort and intelligence and cooperation. So any of the board members have any questions on that?
Well, no questions, but it's an important program.
Yeah, I agree. And I was down today, the sheriff rolled out his expanded Oracle program, which is where he's taking social workers and whatnot and embedding them with the police officers for overdoses and whatnot. So, and Urgent is dealing with the drug situation a lot. So I think it's critical that we all work together on this. So with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that's it for the resolutions. I am going to hop over to the Church Road dumping, and I'll start off by giving a little bit of an update and maybe some clarification. I actually had a very good conversation, believe it or not, with Erin Moran. She and I had a wonderful conversation. Come on, Erin, smile. No,
She got
I'm
a
not going
fixed
to get a
picture
smile.
there. She has a fixed picture up.
That's
Oh,
what,
okay.
yeah,
It's not moving. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So where we're at right now, again, I think everybody realizes, but the charges have been filed. There was a reason for recusal with the judges, so the case did get shipped down to Kingston, where it got reassigned by Brian Rounds, the county judge. It will be heard, I believe it's 5:30 next Tuesday up in Shandaken. And just to be clear, this will just be where they'll be giving their innocent or guilty or not guilty pleas. So, it's not going to be the trial, but it'll be the start of things. And, they'll be setting a timetable to move forward. And hopefully our attorney can give us a little bit more a sense of where we're at with that. I do realize we're all very frustrated with this issue. It has taken a while. I will point out small consolation, but there's a similar case down in, I want to say Rosendale, but it wasn't Rosendale. Mike Baden's the supervisor, and it dragged on for a number of years. It was a frustrating case for them down there too. They finally did get some resolution, but it took quite a while. And Saugerties is in the same boat. These are difficult cases, but I feel optimistic. We have a good local law with the solid waste dumping, and that's what we're charging him with. It was mentioned last week that that since it was going into the court in Shandaken, that we wouldn't be getting the fines. That's not the information that I've gotten back. But I will say that that's not even true relevance, because the fines are one small part of it, and there is a potential for huge fines. But my sense is that we're not going to see those. But the other part of the local law calls for a mandated cleanup, and that's the important part here. That's what we need the judge to implement. And I think if we're victorious, that's not going to be an issue, where it puts it back on the homeowner to do the cleanup. So that's what we're hoping for here. Again, it has taken a while. The courts and when I say courts, I'm talking about the entire New York State court system, was down for a while. I know that the town attorney who we hired back in last May, went back and forth about where he would file the charges. And at one point he had hoped to take it right to the Ulster County Court. But that didn't seem to make the most sense in the end. So that's where we're at. Are there any questions from any of the neighbors that might need clarification?
Yes, Phil, you there? This is Frank Amy.
I hear you, Frank.
Okay, speaking on behalf of all the neighbors, we've all been in contact. We all want to know, first of all, where the engineer's plan is to handle this. That was promised to us many, many months ago on the meetings.
Yep, by Vince.
Yes.
Still hasn't come forward with it.
Said that the town would require an engineer's plan. And obviously, since, you know, he doesn't use CT mail anymore because he doesn't pay for it, this hasn't happened. Second of all, we absolutely are sticking by testing of the material and removal of the material. If anything,
so are we, Frank. That's what.
Okay, all right. I just want this on record that anything that anybody plans to leave behind needs to be tested, and that's a very expensive process.
Frank, just let me just summarize, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you and I had a conversation a month or so ago at your house.
Yes, we did.
And so we're putting it on the record. And my position was, one, I wanted to see it all removed. You and I were in total agreement there. You and I were also in agreement that should he want to come up with some plan to leave some of the dirt, all the construction debris has to get out of there. And anything that he would like to leave must be tested and certified by an engineer.
That is absolutely correct. And by, you know, also a non-involved party, according to New York.
Absolutely.
There is a law that covered this, and you have a copy of it.
Yep.
We just want to make sure that everything's done correctly. I am still wading through this crap, as you know. I'm the one that shoveled it off my walkway, and it's still here, and it's next to my well. So you know my frustration.
Oh,
and
we all share it.
Is I'm looking at a page out of the Woodstock zoning code, and it says that the enforcement officer, which I believe is Ellen, does have the right to take action. And it doesn't say about going through a court first. It's just very frustrated because this has been a year and a quarter now since the notification has been, it's been allowed to happen, and something needs to be done. And I know we've had this conversation. I'm not, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Getting very frustrated. And I don't think that these charges in court are not cleaning this mess up.
Say that again.
The charges that are filed against the illegal dumpers, it seems like the problem is falling on the innocent people here in the valley, not on the people that did it. Because even if they're proven guilty, isn't the town still going to have to clean this up?
So let me explain. First off, there's been some confusion. And again, this was part of what Aaron and I discussed today. There have been 3 different town laws that have been mentioned. Chapter 32, which deals with buildings and fire prevention. Chapter 192, which deals with solid waste, and Chapter 260, which is the zoning law. There are no zoning violations here. So anything in Chapter 260 is irrelevant. It doesn't count here. What you have to look at and read is Chapter 192, the solid waste law. And that's the law that he's been fined under. That's the law that says you can't bury construction debris, concrete, asphalt, or anything like that. And that's the one we're going him after for. So at the end of that law, section 192-8, it talks about the penalties. So there are two parts to the penalty. The one is the fines. So the fine starts out, don't quote me on this, I think it's $250 for the first fine, for the first offense, $350 for the second, $450 for the third, and $1,500 for each offense after. So at 200 loads, the first one's $250, then $350, then $450, then every one after is $1,500. That is not the money that's going to be used to clean this up, though, because then the second part of the penalty phase talks about, let me just pull it out and I'll read it to you directly. I have it right here.
That would be great.
You can write down if somebody did more than that.
I can't, Lynn.
All right.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So the penalties, the second part of the penalty, in each instance of a violation of this chapter, in addition to the fine imposed, shall be the cost incurred by the town for removal of illegal materials and the proper disposal of such, for restoration of the premises to its prior condition to the extent practicable, and for any reasonable attorney fees paid by the town to enforce compliance with this chapter. That's the one I care about. I'm not looking for fines to pad the town's coffers. I want the second one, because what that will do was it will force him to turn around and clean this up. Now, once we have a judgment, if he chooses to flip us the bird, then we can go in, we will have the court power to go in and have a contractor remove the stuff. Now, there was some talk Aaron mentioned today about the highway department. The highway department wouldn't be used for something like this. We would put it out for an RFP and we would solicit bids from contractors to come in and remove all the fill. Vince would be really foolish to go that route because the town is obligated to follow the Wicks law, which mandates how we have to hire contractors. We pay at least a third to 50% more for the same project he would or you would. So it would behoove him to just do the project and get it done. But if he doesn't, the town pays for it and then we levy it on his tax bill. The following year, the county makes the town whole, we're paid, and then the county goes after him. And if he can't pay them, they foreclose on his property, a clean property. And it's going to take a little time, but that's the process that we're following. And that's the roadmap that we hope to achieve.
All right. Well, we've definitely heard all this.
Mhm.
We've heard it many times.
Yeah, it's not
But
new.
a single thing has happened here and I'm still wading through this stuff and it's still on the ground. So if it does test to be, I think the simplest thing would be to do a test and see how dangerous this stuff is. If it is or isn't, or what's going on. I mean, I still know that the construction debris needs to be removed because that violates the town code.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is the stuff is still here. It has been a year sitting here in my. So now what I would like to do also on behalf of all the neighbors is to assure that Erin Moran has done a lot of research on this. She knows a lot more about it than any of us because we don't do this thing. And we would like to hear her presentation on this.
We're going to hold off on that so that the board can wade through her stuff and have and Erin and I agreed to this earlier today. And we can have a response to what she's provided.
Okay, so we're getting kicked aside again is what's happening.
Frank, I'm sorry you feel that way, but it's not the case.
I feel that way. I've been very compliant with you. I've been very friendly with you. We've agreed on a lot of things, but all we've agreed on has not happened.
I can't make the court go any quicker than it's going.
Well, if it was filed when it first happened, maybe it would have been a little quicker. It took an awful long time to come to this.
It did take a long time.
I mean, it happened that
the town did engage.
Filed a year after you were notified of the dumping.
The town did engage back in, well, just to be clear, there was some dumping in January. Then February, March, and into April, there was no
Right.
activity.
Out here dumping all through March and everything, and you were called all through it, Bill.
I don't have those records, Frank. It
Okay.
wasn't until late April that things started to pick up again.
Okay, but then it took until February the following year to file the charges?
Listen, the attorney was hired in May.
Oh, okay. Okay, but when we had a little meeting out here in my driveway with Vincent, you told him I've held off on telling the attorney not to file the charges yet, so you guys could work this out.
What charges?
Against the dumping charges.
Say that again?
We had a meeting. You remember you called Vincent and we were going to have a meeting, me, you and Vincent. I thought it was, I believe after the August blowout. Apparently you decided it was going to be at my house because that's what had happened. I thought it was going to be in your office, and we all met and we were talking, and Vincent came down and said, oh, okay, Bill, so what kind of trouble I'm in? He said, oh, you're not really in any trouble. I told the attorney to hold off on the charges until maybe you guys could work this out together.
That's not true. That's not
It is true. It is true. I was there.
Okay, Frank.
So you're not going to let Aaron speak tonight?
No, this is for the
You're not.
neighbors.
Okay. So, all right. Well, as long as this is, do we have any more neighbors on? Because I know there's one of my neighbors having a health issue with his family. He wouldn't speak, but he
Yeah,
can't.
I'm on. I am here. It's Joe Zarnecki from Reynolds Lane.
Hello, Joe.
I don't quite understand why we can't hear from her either. I understand this stuff was delivered yesterday. But, is there a reason? Is it just you couldn't get through it?
Well, there's a lot of misinformation in it, and I would like to really, instead of he said, she said, be more specific about what's incorrect.
I guess, a big part of the frustration too, just on my part is, I think Erin has been a big supporter of us, and she's been really great on trying to follow up. We don't hear anything from you guys ever as to what the status is, what's going on. We were asked to supply our emails. Unless I email something, I hear nothing from you guys. And that to me speaks volumes. Like, this is something that's very serious to us that doesn't really appear to be that serious to you guys. And you could sit there and say, well, it's in the courts, but there's been nothing said to us. It's very, very frustrating.
I don't know that that's true, Joe. You and I have had multiple conversations. I've had multiple conversations.
But Bill, no, what I'm saying is
with
that's
Frank
when
and Pam.
That's when I email you. But it's unless I email you, I hear nothing.
Well, there's not really been much to report. When the charges got filed, I did contact you guys and let you know that. And that's
I don't remember seeing that. Maybe I missed it. I don't ever remember seeing an email saying things have been filed.
It was probably more likely a phone call, Joe. I spent a lot of time talking to you on the phone, and we were also neighbors, so I do see you there. And then last Tuesday, we found out, and I announced at the meeting that the Shandaken court had been picked.
Right.
So that's the two pieces.
Yeah, but
of
originally in one of the meetings, it was like, we're going to communicate with you by email, send us all your emails so we can keep you updated, and we don't hear anything unless you're attending the meeting.
There's just there hasn't been a lot to update, Joe. I mean, I mean, you and I see each other at least once a week.
Well, that's just passing by. That doesn't mean we're having a meeting about this.
No, but certainly any information that comes available, I would be telling you.
Oh, all right.
Anybody else?
I did have one question. Something was said about no testing has been done. I thought some months ago there were some spot tests done.
There was a water test done.
Water test.
Okay.
And Vince refuses to do any more testing.
And what is the cost on what Vince is not doing?
I don't know.
No.
Someone seemed to recall something about $5,000 or $7,000, but I don't know.
Bill, if somebody would contact CT Mail, Vincent's ex-engineer, he knows all about this stuff and what needs to be done. And also the hydrologist that we paid for out of our pockets as neighbors, Paul Rubin, he could also give you some insight on the testing that needs to be done and how it needs to be done.
Oh, I think we know what needs to be tested.
I don't think anybody does really, because I just think that we need professionals. That's where the whole New York State certified.
Paul Rubin and the gentleman from CT Mail were in total agreement about what needs to be
Absolutely,
tested.
they were, and there needs to be material testing. I don't know how you can deal with this without knowing what it is. I think that would be the baseline. I mean, when you dodge testing, I'm not saying you are, I'm saying you know who is. When you dodge testing, that's almost like an admission of guilt. If you were proud of what you had here, you would say, here's my test, let me keep it.
You would think.
Right. That's my take on it. So why do we keep dancing around the testing?
We're not dancing around the testing.
You, not you.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, I guess, but especially the owner of the material.
Yeah.
Well, I think that part of the issue is, as Bill pointed out earlier, this is not a zoning law violation. It's not a 260 violation. As a violation of 192, what I think I heard Bill say is for the town to take action, the courts have to agree the town should take action. So we don't have the latitude just to walk onto his property and do anything unless the court says we have the right. And the reason why we're waiting for the court is because I believe we need the court to say we have the right to go on the property and make things happen. So I believe the issue is it's not a zoning law where the zoning enforcement officer can go do stuff. It's not a zoning law violation. It's not a 260 violation. It's a 192 violation. And as such, our hands are tied until the court gives us permission to take action.
Okay, well, I believe I heard Bill say the same thing. So let's get to what's going to happen.
You know, can I just say that there's a sort of I don't think it's in 192 about where it's sort of a chicken and the egg thing that is played here, though. In the zoning law, it talks about the zoning enforcement officer going in and remedying the situation, and we file a tax lien or whatever we do after that. Correct, Bill?
Let me get the exact language.
What's interesting, though, it never says that we can't go in there and do it. It simply says the zoning enforcement officer can go in and do it. And then we file.
That's what I saw.
But that's for that, just to be
I
clear.
understand it may not be in the section you're referring to and all that. I'm just trying to figure, it just made no sense when I read it, so.
That's for a zoning violation.
Also, I think we might, and I mentioned this to Bill, I don't know what authority the supervisor has under executive law, but I do know executive law covers public health. Now, we'd have to determine public health and what that means, but that's why the testing would be important.
I have reached out, Richard, you asked me that, you mentioned that yesterday, and I have reached out to the Association of Towns to see if there's any provisions in there that give me powers to do something like that.
Mhm. Yeah, I'd like to know that answer. Yeah.
So I will let you know when I hear.
And Bill, at some point, there are some comments in the chat. Didn't know if you saw them.
No, I had not. I'm looking up zoning right now.
Yes. Okay.
We would also like to know when Erin Moran is going to be allowed to present her research.
Does the board want to?
Aaron's in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, if they've, the neighbors, feel like she's representing them, I think we should.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, she needs time to speak.
Yeah, I'm okay. I think that Bill's point before was we might not be ready to respond because we just got the information.
Which is fair,
but have
Yes,
Aaron's
sir.
presentation. I'm happy to hear what Aaron has to say.
Yes,
Just
and
so-
I think, Aaron,
just so-
I
Yeah.
don't know if you're muted or not, but you understand we just got this.
Yeah, so people understand, Reg, Aaron dropped off a pile of papers for each of us yesterday. I did get it yesterday, but I know a couple people didn't get it. I think most of the board didn't get it till today.
Correct.
So that's, you know, we haven't, I don't think everybody's gone through it all. It's an impressive piece of work, Aaron. I hope your printer still works, but.
Hope
Thanks,
you still
Richard.
have paper, but yeah, I'm
I
happy to
I
hear,
got your message late, Aaron. I didn't get back to you.
That's okay.
Okay.
but I'm happy to hear what Erin has to present to us. I think that'll help us digest what she's sent us.
Well, thank you, just to those of you who said you do want to hear from me. So just to clarify things, I'm not any kind of a representative in any legal matter for the neighbors, but I have been in touch with them. I just want to actually kind of remind everybody that the Environmental Commission was formed in 1978. And it was actually formed, and I'm reading from the mission statement, to define those areas of the environment that require protection, and so advise the town board when action is needed. All of this started in January of 2020. The WEC didn't hear about it until September of 2020. I would like to ask.
Okay, so
Can you
I'm,
let me finish,
no,
Bill, please?
hold on, Aaron, what we're gonna do though, just so you're not speaking for 40 minutes, I'm just gonna address points as you make them, okay? And that way we can have back and forth dialogue. So just to be clear, at the January 21st meeting, with a majority of the WEC board members present, including yourself, sitting in the front row, I did bring this to the front, to the board, to the Woodstock Times, and to the Land Conservancy as well. So
Okay.
Continue.
Okay, so I really don't want this to turn into a back and forth, but if you're going to say that in January you brought it to the WEC's attention, it was not brought to our attention. We were told, and anyone can watch the video, that you were handling it. It was not brought to the WEC until September. Anyway, and you can, and there's documented proof of that. So what I dropped off to the town board, and I dropped off a package to each town board member, so there could be no, I didn't see it, I didn't get it. I've basically done the research where initially in September, the WEC started asking questions. For every question, we got different answers depending on who we were talking to. There was a lot of frustration. So I took it upon myself. The WEC agreed that I could be lead on it. And I started doing research. I started pulling documents. Most of the documents I got are from the town records. A lot of the documents are emails that the neighbors sent to me. That's what I gave the town board copy of. So there can be no more confusion if you look at the package I gave you as to when people were notified and when they knew about it and what was being said. There's emails from everyone here has received emails. There's emails from you, Bill, the building inspector. There's many emails from her. Anyway, the ball was dropped in a lot of places, and it's very obvious if you just look at the documents.
Opinion.
The documents don't lie. Okay. So there was a special meeting back in October. The resolution that the WEC recommended was passed. That was great. Unfortunately, nothing has been done with that resolution. The resolution stated that the water and the soil need to be tested. When the water test was done, it was not tested for lead or asbestos. We were very unhappy when we heard about this on the Environmental Commission. Those two things, lead and asbestos, are very important. Construction debris is known. This is not anything new. It's known to have asbestos in it. That's why it's hard to get rid of. So to not test for lead and asbestos was just a waste of everyone's time. The soil, Laura, you mentioned earlier that wasn't there some testing? There were, quote, test holes dug. Lauren was there, Mike Reynolds was there, some other people were there, the property owner was there. Not anybody who had actual expertise and knowing what to look for. And the soil was looked at with the naked eye. You can't see lead with the naked eye. You can't see asbestos with the naked eye. So to drill a couple holes, which is what happened, and to say, well, looks good to me, again, it's another letdown. The ball was dropped again.
That's not what was said, actually.
Actually, if you look in the notes, you'll see on our Environmental Commission meeting, our minutes from the meeting where Lauren presented to us what happened. So again, you can watch the video. They're on YouTube as soon as you post them.
But we all agreed, Aaron, that it all had to be removed. So for
I
you,
love hearing you
for-
say that today, Bill. I do. I
for
love
you
it.
to,
It's just,
for you to imply that we said back in December that, oh, it's all okay, is not true.
Bill, I'm just reading the emails that you sent me. And those emails are in that package.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's all I'm doing is reading the emails you sent me. I'm very happy to hear you say that you want it removed today. Very happy.
I've
Hopefully
been
we
saying
can
it
move
from
forward.
day one.
So, you know, the other thing is, you know, the going forward, I think this is happening now in smaller cases, and I think it's going to happen. And I think until we get some really effective environmental laws on the books by experts, not volunteers, I think that's a really big need. When the moratorium draft was sent to a specialist and a lawyer in Albany, that's great. A lawyer who knows moratorium law. I think what we need to do, we have a great committee of volunteers looking at the zoning, the ZRC. Laura, I'm drawing a blank on what that stands for.
Yeah, zoning revision committee. Yes. thank you.
Yes, and I know you guys have done a lot of work, but I think that it would be in the town's best interest to have environmental law and zoning law and specialists, or excuse me, attorneys looking at these laws. And these are the laws that should be on the books. Right now, we have laws on the books that there's a lot of question whether or not they're enforceable. And that's why we're in this stalemate right now. So, and also one other thing I'm going to say, which I know not everybody agrees, is, you know, this isn't really is right now, you can say it's just affecting the neighbors on Church Road and Reynolds Lane, but the Sawkill is across the road from the Amy's. If there is something in that soil, it's going to get in the Sawkill, it's going to come down into Woodstock, and it's going to be all of our problems. And it may not be until 20 years from now, but we all could have done something about it. And that's all I have to say. Oh, I'm sorry, one other thing. So as the Environmental Commission, like, we really have no authority. We can only make recommendations, and we've done that. So going forward, I don't know what else the Environmental Commission or myself, even as a resident, can do. We've asked the town board. I've given you documents. There's been a lot of confusion. I've given you everything you need to act. So I'm just going to ask the town board to please act and do something.
Thank you. Any other comments? Any comments from the board?
Well, I guess I do want to follow up on, so Aaron, I appreciate your thoughts, and as you point out, and as I well know, because I'm the chair of it, the zoning revision committee, if there are things the WEC sees environmentally that if you have, I mean, that is a really good topic. As you say, we should have more laws for the environment. If you've got ideas of more laws for the environment, certainly let me know, because we have an active group. We're focused on housing now, but we have a list of things we want to get to, and we can certainly be focused on that. So if you do have some environmental, either specifics or generalities of, this thing over here is a problem, let's focus on this. So I definitely want to hear more if there is more stuff for environment in general. I know Bill is working with the lawyers on this particular item, but certainly I'm interested if there's more environmental topics that we should be focused on the ZRC. I'm happy to do so.
Thank you. I'll talk to the Environmental Commission about that and see if we want to come to one of your meetings.
Perfect.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Bill, could I just quickly say something as well?
Sure, Alex.
Hi, thank you. I just want to say that, so I chaired the WEC. I was not chair when this first came to our attention. But I think that everyone on the WEC shared a lot of the frustration that Erin is expressing right now. And I think it's important to note that we were brought this issue by a member of the town board who also felt frustrated that they felt that not enough had been done on this issue. And I just want to say that to support Erin and to say that, she's not just one frustrated individual. It goes throughout our group. It grows throughout your board. Yeah. And so I think to discount that sense that it goes beyond her personal feelings is a bit unfair. And so I just
Well, no, I don't discount it. We're all very frustrated, including Lauren. Lauren and I he was the councilman that brought it to the WEC. We're all very frustrated with this. And it's not just Woodstock. I mean, Saugerties has the similar issue, and it's been going on 5 years now. It's painfully slow, and we get absolutely no help from the county or the state. You know, and I suppose their hands are as tied as ours. So
I couldn't even get a call back from half of the people I called that are supposed to be looking after us, that are supposed to be looking after the environment, county health, state DEC. I've never been so frustrated in my life, and I walked away from there understanding how Trump got elected, and there's nothing worse I can say about it.
Okay, Bill, our biggest concern is we would like to know why the burden of this has been dumped on the victims instead of the criminals. And it just seems like there's a big injustice being done here to the people that haven't done anything to hurt anybody. And so I don't.
You're the victim of a crime.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it, but it's not the town that did that, and the town is trying to rectify that.
I understand, but it also, I believe, is the town, that it's not just me. This isn't personal with just me, even though it is in my yard. Mm-hmm. I believe it's the town's responsibility to protect the residents of the town.
But we have to follow the law, Frank, and we have to go through the
understand.
process.
It just baffles me how the burden and the expense of this has fallen on the victims, because you probably already know that filing a lawsuit under environmental law, you do not recoup your lawyer's fees. You lose that money. So the victim loses twice.
Understood. But if the town prevails, then you won't need a lawsuit. Now, you know, I did give an interesting example to Aaron today. Suppose Vince had been up cutting a tree on his property and it fell down across the property line and crashed through your house. That would be a civil matter. The town wouldn't get involved, even though your neighbor had harmed you. It would be a civil matter for you to take him to court. He didn't violate any local law in doing so.
Bill, that's an accident. That's an accident that would be covered under his homeowner's insurance. This is not an accident. This was deliberately dumped on us.
Correct. But it's not necessarily a crime is the problem.
It is a crime. You just said it was a crime. It violates town law.
As far as the dumping goes, if it were just clean fill, if it were just clean fill, it wouldn't be a problem.
Then it would be a retention problem.
Yeah.
But now we have multiple problems. Mm-hmm. We have retention, illegal fill. We have everything.
Mm-hmm. Nobody's disagreeing with anything that's said here.
Okay, but it's very unfair that the victims, we have paid so much out of pocket already to just protect ourselves. There's money we just can't get back. I think this is crazy. Anybody got an answer to that? I don't think so.
But no, but I guess my thought in terms of going forward, though, I know as Bill said, he said 1 week from today at 5:30, Shandaken's expecting to hear at least have, I guess, 5. I'm looking at my notes. The case is assigned.
Yeah, we heard
the plea will be entered, and we should know more about a timetable for what comes next. Hopefully, after that.
At best, this is going through the summer into the fall. You know.
Well, yeah, it's
that's best.
Right. Yeah, I know it's not. Nobody's happy with that, but we can at least follow how it is going through the Shandaken court.
Well, I would like to ask, I don't know where we are, but I would like to ask if we can get a price on the soil testing, wherever that is these days. Check and get a report back on executive powers. Okay. And public health. I mean, I think Frank's right. I mean, part of our duty as a government is to protect the citizens. And I know there's legal things here back and forth and wrangling, and it's frustrating, but you know, enough's enough.
The one thing I will point out though, Richard, and I think Lauren can back up on this, he and I have worked very hard to try and get
No, I know.
remedy.
I don't want to spread blame. I'm not blaming.
Yeah.
I want to get away from that.
Mhm.
Okay. I just want to see if we can make some progressive actions.
Okay.
To
This
move
is
forward.
Aaron. And I mean, Richard, what you're talking about, the Environmental Commission has actually reached out about getting estimates, and actually we've gotten estimates on water tests. So we are a
No, I
resource
thought
for you guys. If you would like to use us, we would be
Did
more
you
than
get-
happy to help out.
Did you get soil test estimates?
I didn't submit them, but I believe one of the guys in our commission is actually, that's his forte. So we did discuss it, but we can get one. It's not a problem.
Okay.
I mean,
No,
do
I
you
didn't see-
want
I
to,
didn't
do you
see
want
that.
to engage us? That's the whole thing. We don't want to be, so far we've been kind of pushed out of the room, and we're not going to force ourselves in a room where we don't want to be. I mean, look what had to happen just to get me to talk on the meeting tonight.
No, if you got an estimate, or if the town's got an estimate, or CT Mall's got an estimate, or the guy who was the engineer is no longer around, has got an estimate, we should see it.
Okay, I'll drop it off.
I would just want to add to that. Let's just please make sure that we don't spin our wheels and do an inadequate test. That's a waste of everybody's time and money.
No, you're right, Frank. It's gotta be
It needs
fair.
to be done by an independent person and who's certified to do these things, just, you know, just so that we don't, you know, a test is wasted if it's not the proper test, then we wasted everybody's time and money.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much for your help.
Okay. So with that, I am going to make a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of,
Do you want to do public be heard first?
oh, was there anybody else that had public be
Yeah, I
heard?
think there are a couple.
Yeah, Linda.
Linda?
She's muted.
Yeah, I think John's ahead of me.
Okay, well, you're unmuted now, so you go ahead and then I'll.
Okay, okay,
I'm here.
I'll be really brief. I just wanted to thank you so much, Bill, for putting this speed sign up on our street. I didn't ask this time, whoever did, I have to say, and I'm not being dramatic, and Terry can back me up, it has made such a big difference. And I mean, the neighbors are like, oh my gosh, everybody's driving slower. We're not having drag races. And I don't know if you saw the article in the Freeman about how drag racing has really in the streets has really increased since the pandemic. And I know because of our straightaway, we have that, but with this street sign, what a difference.
We find that typically for 3 to 6 months, you should see a reduction, but pay attention over the summer and we can bring it back in a month or two.
Yeah, it's really, really great. I'm telling you,
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. So just so everybody knows, we have 3 of those. I think actually one might be on the fritz, but we moved them all around. I think we've got them out in Wittenberg right now. If anybody else has any problems with speeding on their streets, send me an email and we can add that road to the list of where it goes.
And also, is there anything on the state study? I know we started that before the pandemic, nothing yet about reducing the speed to 35 or?
Didn't they? I think we got that back already.
Oh, we haven't heard anything. I've been asking Jonathan Hector and he's been having a hard time finding out what's going on.
I'll make a note to ask about that speed study on Glasgow.
Yeah, that was right before the pandemic.
I'm pretty sure. I think they did that, to be honest with you. I'll have to see if I have it somewhere. Speed study.
Okay.
Glasgow. All right, John.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you. I want to inform the community of something I learned just yesterday about the library. They released the environmental and structural reports they ordered in January, and we paid more than $22,000 for them. The trustees will be discussing those reports at their Thursday meeting, and then they'll present them to the public at a Zoom meeting a week from tomorrow. I learned that the structural report from Catterskill Associates was sent to the board on April 19, but board president Jeff Collins rejected that report. He wrote to me, the initial report was rejected by the library. Catterskill Associates sent a new structural report 4 days ago on May 14. I was curious what had changed, so I put in a FOIL request for the report that was rejected. There were just a few differences, but one new sentence in the new May 14 conclusions stood out. The sentence is, quote, "Most of the deficient areas are inaccessible, making the renovation work extremely difficult and expensive." That sentence did not appear in the April 19 structural report. I'll read it again. Most of the deficient areas are inaccessible, making the renovation work extremely difficult and expensive. I don't know who wrote that sentence. I'm surprised the engineer at Catterskill would put his stamp and signature on it. How could any area of the building be inaccessible during a major renovation? I thought this was urgent enough to bring up tonight because the PR machine is ramping up now for the big public presentation a week from tomorrow. We can expect to hear those words, extremely difficult and expensive, repeated many times in the next week. I wrote an apology to Jeff for busting his chops on this. I told him I don't enjoy it. It's a lot of work watching everything they do and trying to stay on top of it. I told Jeff that his intervention with Catterskill has tainted the whole structural evaluation. Please join the library's Zoom meeting a week from tomorrow at 7 p.m. and don't believe everything you hear.
Thank you, John. Okay, I think that was everybody, right, Michelle?
Yeah, before we do executive session, I did want to remind everybody of the Ontiora School Board vote. And I am just posting in the chat. If you didn't vote yet for the school board, you can go to that website. It talks about the 4 candidates. It talks about the 2 proposals on the ballot, and polls are open till 9. So anyway, I just want to remind people this is school board vote day.
Also for Kingston as well.
Yeah. So, and this is
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, this is the Ontiora link. So if you're in the Kingston district, you'll have to Google the link yourself, but this is Ontiora.
The cemetery committee asked me to just pass along again the word that volunteers are needed. If you're interested in learning how to clean gravestones, old gravestones, or help with some of the town history, and check out the work Joe has done up at the cemetery repairing the old stones. He's doing a great job.
Thank you, Richard. He is doing a great job. It's coming along very nicely.
Bill, tomorrow, the farmer's market is the first kickoff farmer's market from 3 to
2
7.
o'clock?
3 to
3 o'clock?
7 in the Mountain View lot. Lots of local vendors. They are asking folks to wear masks. Just a heads up, there will be some music also. So tomorrow's the kickoff for that.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Okay, any other announcements? Okay, with that then, I will make a motion to go into executive session to talk about an appointment to the Ethics Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so I'm going to ask everybody but the town board in Paul, Washington to please step out. We won't be making any decision or any vote tonight on anything else, so there'll be no more resolutions this evening.